First, in Buenaventura, a social score that doesn't end.
These little streets, closed doors, soapy sluice, silent rains. Most flames before the arrival of drunk traffickers and rebels who settle in their homes. The war for the loot of cocaine is in pay towns in the Colombia Pacific. The people who stay are Senfai, Trend, Square, and they are resisted because they prefer today and they home not outside bank. Diego Portocarrero of the hundred of displaced people who fled the reside town of La Colonia Tars, AFP, are centered in the city of Buenaventura, the main port of the
What is the first problem for which violence persists in Buenaventura?
The main problem is due to its structure. Buenaventura, being economically strategic city for the legal and illegal, generates a strong dynamic of victimization that made the outlaws that are resilient to different economic spheres in the city, and from here generates a dynamic violence both to civilians to the electorate and my them, as is happening at this time. Now, it is one of the many pits of violence and perhaps it is enhanced. Here, there were times when many massacres were committed and the figure excited 200 and 300 deaths per year, and areas these are the most opulent for growth aside the land.
No, even good people are affected. They take advantage of them to ask for money for their crime, and if they don't collaborate, they are murdered. Many people have to leave the city or even they could throw the country. They even store clothing and make buses and all the others. They even fight the community with fear for 2 weeks. They didn't even leave the house and only those who were left. I don't know with what intention they didn't, but they were at that point. The police did nothing for the violence. They allowed it by receiving money and not be captured. Good people also seek solution with the police, but since they are treated with death if they say what is happened. That is why no one dares to tell what has happened, for fear of being assassinated. Violence is an intentional use of physical force which leaves very serious damage to people. These damage are not only physical, it also affects mental health. Physically damaging the person, causing depression, anxiety disorders, and in more serious cases, it causes death. Death of the person thanks to violence. Violence can be perceived in many ways: domestic violence, physical violence, emotional violence. The most common causes of violence are alcoholism, intolerance, ignorance. Violence also plays very negative role in society. It destroys well-being and integrity of the people who live in affectation and causes the emergence of new violence, some more silent than others, but that does no chance that is negative for society. Violence has always been present in society in one way or
think that poverty, exclusion from labor, capital, or land markets, and social inequalities are radical causes of violence, but there are also immediate causes, such as the failure of management of status and institutional corruption. And the urban poor management, lack of planning of cities, can lead to conflict of territory, economics, and social. That can lead to violence. Also, armed conflicts and wars generate a lack of job opportunities. Violation the fundamental human rights such as life, condition of extreme poverty, underlying the outbreaks of urban violence. Monitor public places such as schools, workplaces, and neighborhoods, and take action to address problems that can lead to violence, as well as public awareness of violence, encourage community actions, install systems, and protect the victims. And face the inequalities between sexes and adverse cultural attitudes and practice. Pay attention to the most general cultural, social, and economic factors that contribute to violence and take measures to modify them.
It is true that violence is everywhere in Colombia, but there are places that are in worse conditions with violence, especially Buenaventura. There are areas or neighborhoods that are dangerous or difficult to live in. It may be due to lack of security. And violence does affect education because in order to receive allocations, you have to leave the house to go to school, and there the student run the risk of going through danger of losing their living. For these same reasons, parents prevent their children from going outside and getting educations for fear of losing their children getting into endless trouble. While the values remain the same, we don't have a guarantee of normal life, of formal educations. Perhaps there were students who left to receive an education, but when thought are scared that mark their life. It is sad, but it's true. It's literally. That they return with it, or that they never return alive. We as students have the right to receive a worthy study and deserve, and hoping to get ahead of overcoming violence and poverty that affect us and prevent us from having a normal home and living a quiet education.
The dropout rate in Buenaventura is 17% according to the CIMAT integrated registration system, which organizes and controls the enrollment process in the country, and Buenaventura is below average. In the Saber Pro 11 test, 15 of 45 educational institutions have general average below 200, and private school has 244 points out of 500. Today, academic activities are interrupted in some institutions due to shootings, violence acts, mass displacement, forced disappearance, armed actors as invisible borders. Even in 2022, the situation has not improved. If the state does not promote public policies that improve the above problems, this will lead to the following consequence: low quality of education, low educational coverage, poor infrastructure, inadequate environments, affectation of identity and cultural integrity, poor coexistence and intolerance in educational space, high levels of desertion, high levels of unemployment, low levels of professional qualification of the population of Buenaventura, discontinuity in educational processes, deficiency of effective result of education in accordance with his social purpose.
Whether of greater or lesser intensity, but it has always been present. The effect that being victims of violence has on people has implications for physical respect, community, legal and political living as a result. A person affected in their physical or mental health.
In conclusion, the state has to solve the following challenge. A. Guarantee and expand educational coverage in a progressive, sustainable, and effective manner at all levels. B. Make the investment and create the necessary conditions to improve and guarantee quality. Execute the pertinent institutional programs and projects in school retention and permanence. Promote what is related to the strengthening of school coexistence and the construction of a culture of peace. Improve and expand school infrastructure. Implementation of the single working day in the territory. Support in scientific research and technological development.